Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. So, I just want to thank everyone again for the great time we had on Friday. If you couldn't make it on Friday, that's completely understandable. Don't feel bad about it. There is a video posted. I'll try to remember to add it to the playlist, but I think we had a lot of fun. So, hopefully, you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it if you do watch that live stream. Speaking of live streams, Amber and I are thinking of doing a live stream on the last Friday of each month. So at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So let us know what you think of that time. Let us know what you think of that. And yeah, I think that it's going to work out nicely, and I'm looking forward to it. So, and Amber is too. It's right, Amber?
Yes.
Right, Amber?
I said yes.
No one's twisting Amber's arm to do this.
You can't twist my arms, they're hurt.
I hurt them. I'm just kidding. I didn't hurt Amber's arms.
I hurt them.
That's a whole nother story there. I think we've explained that situation. You'll have to look in our archives here to understand the joke there. So, yeah, let's get started. We've got a lot of great stories today, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. Our first letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for giving my sister $13,000 to pay for IVF without consulting my husband? I'm a 33-year-old female, and my sister is a 34-year-old female, and she's been struggling with infertility for years. She and my brother-in-law resorted to so many options, including rounds of IVF. This is costly, so as a result of a number of IVF cycles, it had cost them a lot of money and none of them worked. My sister and brother-in-law were advised to take some breaks, seeing that the physical and emotional financial toll of this unsuccessful IVF treatment has had on them. But my sister wanted to try one more time before she enters her mid-30s, where her chances are lower. My parents refused to give her any more money, so she came over to my place, where she had a mental breakdown begging me for help. I decided to help her out and helped her by pulling $13,000 from my husband and mine's shared account. That's right, their shared account. My husband was out of town for days, and I didn't go out of my way to tell him after he missed my initial call before going back and forth giving my sister the money. So, one attempt was made. I brought it up on the phone later, and he blew up at me, saying that I shouldn't have made such a decision and taken money out of our joint account without consulting him first, but I said I tried calling once, and he didn't pick up the first time. But he said I shouldn't have made any moves till I had talked to him first, and then said he didn't agree that I gave her a huge sum of money that he worked hard for, given the fact that he contributes 70% to this account, and said that I messed up big time. I tried to explain that my sister's situation was severe and how this was an emergency, and assured him that she would return the money, but he said no, she won't, since she doesn't have a job, the same with her husband, and said I shouldn't support their bad decision to want a baby when they're broke to begin with. I had an argument with him, saying that he was acting cruel and unsupportive of my family, but he corrected me, saying that he's not a doormat and he's worked hard for that money, that I had no problem giving away without even telling him. But that's my sister, and I felt obligated to help her out, yet he refused to understand that. This was the last time we spoke. He demanded that I take the money back ASAP, but I haven't responded to him yet. Am I the jerk, or was he? Well, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Jerk.
Yeah. I don't know what was going through OP's mind here, where they thought that they would be justified in taking $13,000 out of their joint account, to which their husband contributed, what, $9,000? Is that roughly what 70% of that is? So basically, you tried calling your husband once, and I imagine, like, you let it ring one time, hung up the phone. I mean, I'm exaggerating here, folks. Hung up the phone, and then immediately was like, oh, well, I guess I can't get a hold of my husband. May as well just give you the money right now, instead of being like, listen, I know you really want this money, but I need to talk to my husband. And the thing is this, the sniff test here makes me feel like you knew he was going to be upset about this, and you decided to take matters into your own hands and beg for forgiveness later. Well, begging for forgiveness over $12,000 is not the way to go. Maybe if you had spent $100, begging for forgiveness in that case might have been like a acceptable thing, but there's a certain line. I don't know what that financial line is. It varies from person to person, but you crossed it where begging for forgiveness is no longer on the table. So, OP, I think that you need to get that money back, or your marriage is probably going to be on the rocks or over, I would say. It sounds like your husband is not happy about this. Does not sound like he trusts you anymore. And for good reason. I mean, you just took away a huge sum of money from your emergency account, or your joint account rather. Now, okay. If you two are billionaires and you have wads of cash just laying around everywhere, and $12,000 is like 10 cents to you, then maybe you would be justified in using $12,000 like that. But that is probably not the case. This is probably not a matter of you have so much money you don't know what to do with it, and you didn't think that $12,000 out of your $10 million account would be that big of a deal here, right? So yeah, I think that you've broached that you've breached the trust here in your relationship, and I think that you're gonna have to work hard to earn it back again. And I think you should, get that money back if you want to have a relationship with your husband. So anyhow, take care and good luck. A broken bone is an emergency. Trapped in a foreign country and needs to get home immediately is an emergency. Needs to escape an abusive situation is an emergency. Being in the ICU is an emergency. IVF is never an emergency. It's a luxury for the financially privileged. You took $13,000, a little over $9,000 being his, without even consulting him first. Let's face it, you knew he would say no, which is why you didn't talk to him, and essentially threw it in the garbage. You're the jerk, and if I were him, I would never trust you again. Edited ad because I wanted to make a couple things clear. I do not believe that the money will go to IVF. I find it unlikely that the doctor will agree to supply another round if they prescribed a break. I also find their final try to be a very low chance. I also don't believe that OP or the husband will see that money again, even if they don't do another round of IVF, hence why it is in the garbage. And gave it to a couple who both currently have no jobs to pay them back. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, how do you expect to take care of a kid when neither of you have jobs? Like, I mean, I guess like it sounds like their parents, OP's parents, are funding them in some way, shape, or form. This does not seem like a healthy situation. All right, folks, speaking of unhealthy situations, our next letter is a doozy. It's titled, "Am I a jerk for telling my coworker that I will report him after he announced my pregnancy during a lunch break?" And it is as bad as every bit that you're imagining it is. But before we begin, let's have a little sip of tea. As you can see, I have my mug that I was gifted from my grandparents. And I have a lovely mint tea today. So to bring back a tea time tradition. So let me know what drinks you are having right now. Let's continue. I'm a 33-year-old female, and I've been working in this company for 4 years. I have a great relationship with my coworkers, and one of them is Austin. Austin is incredibly sociable and easy to adapt with new coworkers. We talked about all kinds of stuff while, of course, keeping it professional. I'm married and recently found out I was pregnant, but only my husband knew about it. Haven't told anyone in our families or friend circle. The other day at work, me and the coworkers were on lunch break and Austin was with us. We talked, then suddenly he got up from his chair and asked for everyone's attention for a minute. I didn't know what this was all about till he loudly announced that I was pregnant. I was stunned, like mouth open, eyes not moving, just staring at him as he and the others rushed to congratulate me, and a flood of people wishing me well and parenting jokes and advice. I was in utter shock. I asked how he knew, and he said, "Remember when you gave me a ride the other day? I saw your pregnancy test on the dashboard." My first action was lashing out at him in front of everyone and asking why he just shared private medical information at my workplace. He said he was just sharing our joy with everyone else since only him and I knew. Other coworkers asked that I calm down, but I meanly told him that he was out of line and that I will be reporting him to my superior for this, and then stormed off while Austin just stood there. My female coworkers came to tell me about how rude I was towards Austin's nice gesture, and insisted that I hurt him and that I overreacted, especially for saying that I was reporting him since he was just sharing happy news with everyone, and that I was just being too sensitive, but I felt like my privacy was violated, plus I wanted to tell everyone on my own terms. Still, my coworkers tried to talk me out of it, not just that, but apologized to him for lashing out like that. Am I the jerk for my reaction? All right, OP. Well, first off, what do you folks think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
Or do you think that this is potentially not a real story? I would, if I'm going to address this as though it's real to begin with, and then I'm going to give you my reasons why I'm not 100% convinced about this one. But I say Austin had no right to tell OP's personal private medical information. Like, this was a complete violation. How you find out about something, like if he had overheard her talking, if Austin had overheard her talking to one of the coworkers in private about her being pregnant, right? He still would have been completely out of line to report, to tell people this. And I think that that's the crux of this issue here. Like, this is not good. Like, this sounds like OP is still very early on in the pregnancy. They could have a miscarriage. There's a lot of reasons why people in the first, couple of trimesters don't even tell anyone that they're pregnant. OP may be trying to keep this on the down low because they don't want to miss out on other job opportunities. What happens if, there is some kind of innate discrimination in the workforce that discriminates against pregnant women? And maybe that's the culture at this company, and OP wants to keep it private because they don't want that kind of information out there so that they might not get, as good of promotions or any number of things. I'm not saying that this is the case with this company. Some companies are very good about this. Some companies are very bad about, women being pregnant. And I think that's something that's really important to consider and for people who are pregnant. And I think that that's just something that a reality that the world has in it. It's not me trying to say that this is always the case. It's just sometimes this happens. So, completely out of line. I just cannot believe Austin at all had the gall to get up there and announce the pregnancy like this. This wasn't his news to share. No, you don't announce this kind of stuff. Like, where was he raised? In what kind of environment where he thought that this was a good idea? He stole the show and made it about him, and how good of a person he was just for trying to share OP's good news, right? Now, my suspicions on why this might not be the most reputable story. I don't know why OP would have had the pregnancy test in the car to begin with. Maybe she was emptying out her bag and that she had it in the pregnancy test in her bag and she left it there, or maybe she had been talking to her husband and pulled it out while they were in the car. There could be some good valid reasons behind her having it in the vehicle, but I don't know, that just seems a little odd of a place to be keeping a pregnancy test when no one else knows about it. So I don't know. I would like to believe that this one is real, but I don't also know if there's more details here about why she had the pregnancy test in her car. Not that this matters, right? If this is a real letter, there's no reason that Austin should have taken a look at that pregnancy test and assumed that it was even OP's to begin with. Like, what happens if she had a sister in her car who was pregnant, Or what happens if she had a friend who was, sharing the news with her and accidentally left in the vehicle? Austin didn't even know if she was pregnant. Plain and simple. He just made a massive assumption, and you know what they say when you make an assumption. I won't say it here, but you know. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. What if it hadn't been yours at all, but your sister's? I mean, they just... or yours, but a memory from a baby you had lost. Austin's behavior was wildly inappropriate. Yeah. And OP says, I hadn't thought about that because I was too upset to think straight. You're 100% right. Exactly this. Also, oh, what if OP didn't mean to get pregnant and the child was unwanted? Pregnancy isn't always a joyous thing. Austin is definitely the jerk. Speaking of wildly inappropriate behavior, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Throwing Him Under the Bus with His Family and Friends? My ex, a 29-year-old male, randomly stopped taking our kids roughly a year ago. He never paid support, but he had them every weekend and whenever I was financially capable on my own from having my own business. Our split was amicable. We co-parented well while he was in a rut, so support was not necessary for me. He needed the money way more than I did. I have all of the text and documents and everything. I save every single text message, email received. Now, he stopped taking the kids randomly and it was a shock. There was no indication that he had even been wanting to stop visitations. He was a very involved parent. Come to find out, he has met a new woman and he chooses her. Long story short, I will spare the details. Anyways, I start hearing through the grapevine roughly 2 months back that he is going around telling everyone that I am withholding the children from him and being a crazy ex and supposedly telling him that he isn't allowed to date other women. Never once did I say this. I don't want him and I don't care if someone else does. However, I do have the text with me contacting him, asking him to take the kids, asking to meet this woman if she is going to be around our children, etc. The only text I sent talking about support was a text that reads as follows. Richard, I know that you might have some stuff going on right now, but to say that I am the crazy ex and withholding the kids and trying to get support out of you is far-fetched. I haven't ever asked you for support. The least you can do is see our babies so they don't think that their dad abandoned them for another woman. That's it. No response per usual. Fast forward 3 nights ago. I bring my kids bowling with my husband and him. His best friend and family just happen to be there. Cue the immediate chaos. My ex-mother-in-law accuses me of things that her son clearly stated. For example, withholding the kids. At this point, I pull out my phone and show all the documented texts, phone calls, and emails. I have never seen the script flipped that quickly, and in the end, I was apologized to, and the ex-mother-in-law even set up a schedule for her to see the kids consistently. However, I am being told that I was out of line for doing this in front of the entire family, our kids and best friends. I do feel bad, which you shouldn't, but I also feel I was warranted where I was being slammed with insults surrounding these lies. Am I the jerk? Well, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk.
This is such a cut and dry situation. Like, he's over here lying about OP for trying to force him to pay support, trying to, get money out of him and saying that he can't date women and that he's trying to see the kids, but she's withholding them when it couldn't be further from the truth. He had to expect that this was eventually going to come around, but maybe he just didn't expect OP to be so well organized and document everything. No. He got exactly what was coming to him, and hopefully more. Hopefully his mom chews him out, and chews him out hard. And hopefully he is embarrassed by this, because this is really bad behavior and he should be embarrassed. Like, there is not, he should be mortified by his own behavior and realize that he's a bad human being who needs to change and become a better person. So I don't think, OP, that you're the jerk in this situation. You were being publicly humiliated because of a lie that your ex was telling, and you just showed and revealed the truth, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. So yeah, anyhow, take care and good luck. However, I'm being told that I was out of line for doing this in front of the entire family, our kids and his best friend. By who? Who could possibly want to die on that hill? It's a bad hill. A hill full of BS and nonsense. Not the jerk. Oh, I can't agree more. Right, if the family confronted her in public rather than approaching her in privately to ask what was going on, what do they expect? If it's the ex, well, of course he's mad for being exposed for abandoning his children. I know. He should be embarrassed. I bet it's the ex now crying because everyone is mad at him. Probably. Poor ex. Speaking of getting mad, our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for getting mad at my fiancé because he didn't put a stop to his dad's comments? Okay, so me and my fiancé, may I say, should be your ex-fiancé, after you folks hear this, both 28, invited his parents for dinner at our place. I cooked a meal, not simple but not extravagant because I'm not an amazing cook, and was ready before they arrived. When they arrived, we had a conversation and they sat down. I went to the kitchen to serve the plates when I heard his dad telling me to do it quicker. I wasn't too bothered by that, since they were probably hungry, so I ignored it. After I served them plates and sat down, I thought the quicker comment was in the past. But his dad saying something to his son like, here's a lesson for you. Women need to feel threatened by another woman in order to reach their full potential. If OP had felt threatened, she would have been faster. I was literally on the same table, so I heard it and I got very mad. But it's his dad, so I decided to let my fiancé handle it. His mother didn't seem surprised. She just kept eating and joined the conversation. Well, he didn't tell his dad to stop. Instead, he started laughing and saying something like, oh yeah, don't worry. Once we get married, things will be different. You know, I need a prop. I need a red flag prop for these kinds of situations. I should be waving a giant red flag right now, just to let you folks know. And that was it for me. I didn't make a scene, so I waited for them until they left to talk to my fiancé. I told him I was very mad at him for laughing at this comment instead of just trying to say no and change the topic. He said that I'm overreacting and that it's just the way his dad jokes. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, OP. Run. I told him that I didn't find the joke funny. It wasn't a joke. He got pissed. He got mad. He got mad and told me to talk to him once I've calmed down. Am I the jerk? Well, I mean, I think I've given my opinion on this, but what do you folks think?
Not the jerk, but run for the hills.
Run for the hills, OP. Run for the hills. Wow. Like, he doesn't say this because he's joking, OP. He says this because he is serious as a heart attack. He's going to put you under his thumb when you get married. This is part of his plan. Like, his dad clearly didn't get better when he got married, right? I doubt, and like, the mom doesn't seem surprised by this at all. Like, she knows. She knows, OP. And now you do too. So the only thing I can advise in this situation, which I don't say very often, is run. Please. Please do not get involved with this person. Please do not subject yourself to this for the next however long. So yeah, anyhow, take care and good luck. Oh yeah, don't worry. Once we get married, things will be different. This should have thrown the immediate brakes on this wedding. It's absolutely not funny to even remotely get close to suggesting that after the wedding, you'll become subservient to him. Not the jerk. And OP replies, I actually hadn't paid much attention to the comment at the time. I was more mad at the fact that he laughed, but now that I think about it, it's quite scary. What is going to change? Exactly. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving us a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching. Happy Monday. And I'll see you all tomorrow.